Hey, good morning, everyone. Sorry for the late start. Technical difficulties. Let's see. I don't even know for sure if everything is working properly. I was trying to set this up on my phone because it has a much better camera and mic than my laptop does. But I was trying to use a third-party app, which worked perfectly fine the other day. And now it has decided it doesn't want to. So I kind of announced this last minute. So I don't know if anybody's even going to tune. I've got one person in. Yay. Welcome. So sorry for the camera quality. That already kind of started off as a mess. And also let me know if my audio is fine because, again, I was hoping to stream on my phone and then test it on my laptop. And that just did not work out this morning. I'm already 5 minutes late on getting started. I'm very frustrated right now, but okay, we're fine. Everything's going to be fine. So this is my very first one, so it might be a little bit of a hot mess, and I don't know how many people are going to tune in. I did kind of announce it last minute, and I asked people, if you can't tune in this Sunday, please let me know what your questions are, and I can answer them during the live stream, and it'll be posted later. So I do have a list of some questions to go over. Yeah, I guess we can jump right in. I hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. This is going to be called the Tea with Tiffany series, although today I am actually drinking coffee just because I was more in the mood for coffee. All right, so feel free to type in the chat if you have any questions. I will kind of get to them one by one, or I will let you know what video you can reference to get an answer to your question. But without further ado, I will check my list here. So one of my first questions that I received was, and this was during the survey that I did for figuring out the live stream schedule, was, is it just as effective to take graveyard dirt from the undeveloped part of the cemetery as it is to take it from a grave? So is it as effective to take it just from a general graveyard versus directly from somebody's personal grave? Yes, sort of. So the thing with that is, if you ever take graveyard dirt from somebody's grave, you should know who they are, hopefully have a relationship with them of some sort. If it's somebody like a family member who passed away before you were alive and you never got to meet them, or you were a baby when they passed away, some sort of spiritual connection to them, like, you've meditated and attempted, not necessarily like used a Ouija board and tried to talk to them, but formed some sort of bond, some sort of relationship with them. Hey guys, welcome. Sorry for the late start. People are jumping in, I see. And also sorry for the camera quality. There was technical difficulties. I'm not gonna go into it again. So just apologies. Feel free to put questions in the chat. I'm answering questions that came in advance. So taking graveyard dirt, the reason you don't want to just willy-nilly grab it from some random person's grave is you don't know them. You don't know their beliefs on what you're going to do with that graveyard dirt. It's a little bit awkward to just, in my opinion, to just like go take dirt from some random grave as well. That person could still have family alive who wouldn't find it respectful, who knows what the situation is. In essence, you are getting part of their essence, right? If you are using that graveyard dirt, which can be a good thing. If you are doing a spell for a legal dispute and hi, Kara. Good morning. It would be great to take dirt from a renowned lawyer or a judge's grave if that's what it's for a legal dispute, or if it's for financial stuff, you could take it from a banker's grave. But again, you don't know, maybe that person was terrible at their job. Maybe they don't agree with what you're doing. Maybe they're just grumpy, so it's always best to know who the person is, have some sort of connection with them. Again, if your family members, you go to a cemetery where you have family buried and maybe they were like super hardcore Christians, they do not agree with witchcraft, like they may not want to help you out. So just be aware. And of course, always ask permission first. If you kind of get this like sense of foreboding and uneasiness, then yeah, they're probably saying, no, don't take it. And of course, you always want to try to leave an offering, some flowers. There are some traditions that dictate leaving 9 dimes behind. That sort of thing. You can kind of clean up their gravesite. But of course, you can also just go to a general cemetery and just take it off the grounds, especially if you're doing a spell to break through barriers, like you're letting go of obstacles and barriers. Take it right from the gate, like the literal gate of the cemetery. That's a great way to signify, like kind of correspond with both of those things. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. I'm actually going to do a full video on using dirt in general, grave dirt and regular dirt in witchcraft. So I think I'm going to take this out because I don't think I need it. And it's really bugging me. Okay, so that was the first question down. Good morning. Sorry guys, I'm like shaking. I'm a little anxious. I'm really excited, but I'm also like, I don't know what I'm doing. And of course, starting it off 5 minutes late with technical difficulties kind of made it way more stressful than it needed to be. So let me know again if my audio is garbage or if we're having any issues with that. We'll see what I can do. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be on. Kind of depends on how much everybody's interacting, how many questions we go through, if I just get hungry or need to pee really bad. But we're just gonna have fun and see what happens. I'm really excited to be doing this. Before I move on to the next question, I was just gonna say, I'm supposed to be able to do live streaming on mobile directly through YouTube because I've now hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. I'm super excited about that. I'm actually like 1,060 something right now, but YouTube has not approved that yet. Once you hit a landmark or kind of a milestone with YouTube, it usually takes them at least a week to kind of get everything approved. So they have not approved it yet. So that's one of the difficulties we had. And so I was trying to stream through a third party. And like I said, it worked the other day. It did not work this morning. Great way to start my Sunday with my first nerve-wracking live stream. So anyway, all right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, 5 minutes in, whatever. You know how many plays I've done where we were like peeking in the audience and going, there's not enough people here yet. Let's go ahead and wait a few more minutes to start. Call time, or not call time, but curtain time is always a loose rule, right? Okay. The spell that I use to move, that's a great question. So I kept that one fairly simple. Oh my gosh, of course now I'm on the spot and I don't have my notes with me to reference it like exactly. I will do a full video on that one actually, but I kept it fairly simple because I wanted to focus most of my intention on my visualization. You know, I'm assuming you saw that in my vlog that I talked about that. One of the main things that I did was just putting a lot of energy into writing out my list of everything that I wanted. Like I said, I had prioritized the main things, like what our budget was, the area we wanted to move to, the washer and dryer in the unit. We're such spoiled brats for that. You know, I spent a lot of time, like I spent probably a good week just, you know, thinking of every little detail. And it was sort of like, instead of just writing like, I want it to be clean and not have a pest infestation like our last building did. I took the time, like you know, new carpets sort of thing. Relatively new building, maintenance upkeep with pest control, like that sort of thing. And it was a bit of candle magic. I'm sorry, like you put me on the spot. I'm so not used to live streaming it. I will do a full video on this. But I would say that taking the time to write out that list was the biggest part of it, was just manifesting each of those individual things. I just devoted a lot of time to that. And as I wrote each one out, I took the time to visualize it. And I didn't consider those each like individual spells, but I did do, you know, I
I wanted to make sure the build up for it, because I was asking for such a big thing. And I was also I gave it time, I did it in advance, but I had a bit of a time constraint on it because, like I said, we wanted to move prior to January 1st. So it's a big ask. So I wanted to devote a lot of energy to it. So I spent a lot of time doing that. But I swear I'll do a full video on it where I'll look at all my notes and organize it and whatnot. You mentioned using a Ouija board earlier. Is that something you use in your practice? If so, what do you do for protection? So I don't really use it in my practice. I'm not opposed to it. It's just something I really just haven't gotten around to yet, I guess. I'd like to buy one, even if it's just the Hasbro or Parker Brothers or whatever. I mean, it'd be fun to have the classic wooden, like they have in the original Charmed series. That'd be amazing. But I have used sort of a pendulum board. I did sell those on my Etsy store, and I did the video about using a pendulum for spirit communication. I touched on spirit communication with it. But it's not something I've done a lot. Why haven't I done that a lot? I don't know. But as far as protection goes, I'm a big fan of just energetic barriers, casting an energetic circle beforehand. And I have it, it's a really important part of any practice, is to sort of build up a shield for yourself, basically, an energetic shield. And that can be whatever you want. It could be a word that you shout out, and if you need to dismiss something right away and like close it down. A word that you shout out to sort of like this, you can visualize it like blasting out and blasting whatever it is, entity, spirit, whatever, away. Or an actual, like, it can look like a shield of armor sort of thing. It's just something it goes along with the basics of casting an energetic circle for protection specifically. And that's really done mostly through visualization. Of course, you can always do a physical barrier. Salt always works well for that. You can use different protective crystals. You can use warding candles, kind of whatever works for you. Sorry, you guys, I'm all jittery. Like, I probably had too much coffee, and then I'm still like I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm a lot more excited. All right, let me scroll up real fast. Oh, you guys are so nice. You're like, you're doing great. Oh, very nice. The spell on the next full moon. I'm going to get my kids involved too. Oh, good luck in buying the house. That's so exciting. Hi, Mary. I think that's great also to get your kids involved, because I'm assuming they'll be moving with you. And so to kind of use the energy of everybody who's going to be going, I think will be great for assisting you in that. The pink Ouija board. I have not seen that. That's so cute. I'm going to actually look that up. Discussion of the full moon. I love it. Yeah, feel free to keep chatting in the chat, like even if it's not a direct question for me, that's totally fine. I love that you guys are interacting. I'm so excited. Speaking of interacting, if you guys haven't already, make sure to go to the Facebook page and like it. You can just, facebook.com/Bewitching.Bemused. It's really small right now, which is fine. I know, like, it's kind of slow getting my announcements out right now because they're somewhere in the videos. Sometimes it's like my announcements are at the end of my videos where people are already kind of checking out because they're like, okay, she's closing it down, and they leave the video so they miss the announcements. I know some people don't use Facebook, and that's fine. I just trying to get people over there. I'm supposed to get access to the community tab on YouTube soon. Again, that's another thing they were supposed to approve at 1,000 subscribers. So we'll see when that actually happens, hopefully in the next few days. Um, you have very informative videos and also love the runes videos too. Thank you so much. Yes, ammonia jars. I feel like those are some of the most effective types of spells I've ever done. I've had them work so quickly. Sometimes, not always, but if I have a much higher like success rate with ammonia jars, I would say, than anything else. Except I also have a pretty high success rate with sigils, but I love ammonia jars. That's why that was one of my like. I kept telling myself early, and I need to do this video, but I knew it was going to be a long one, so I think I put it off for the first couple months or whatever. But I knew that was going to be one I was going to do pretty early in. So let's see. One of the other questions I have from early in is your dog or rabbit a familiar? So no, they are not. I don't actually have a familiar. I never have had one like that was mine, like that lived with me. The reason for this, and this is just from my personal experience, familiars. So my rabbit yokai and my dog Lena, I love them. Like, and I definitely have a connection with them, but I feel that that connection is a bit different than what you experience with a familiar. My connection with them definitely feels like they're my children. They're my little babies. Whereas I have felt a different type of connection with actually twice in my life with a couple of cats. They were both cats. Cats, of course, are not the only types of familiars you can have, but for me, that's just what it was. And I just, especially if you've ever lived in an apartment complex, there are stray cats. You are going to run into them. Some are friendly, some are skittish. It varies. Well, I twice in my life. One, I was very young. I was probably, I don't know, like 13 or 14 years old. And then the other one, I was probably like 26. And at the time, I wasn't practicing witchcraft yet. Maybe I was for the second one, but I always like to stop and pet animals when I can. So I stopped and had a moment, and I just felt this connection with them where it more feels like equals as opposed to like you're my pet, like you're my little fur baby. It felt more like this instantaneous, almost like telepathic understanding. The reason I didn't take them home with me is because they were both relatively well groomed and didn't look like scrawny. So it's always safe to assume like that's somebody's pet. I'm not going to take it home and just assume like, okay, you're mine now, because that would just be horrible to accidentally take in somebody's pet that they love. So that was it. It was always just kind of like a brief thing. But for me, when it comes to familiars, and I should do a video on familiars, but I feel weird doing a video on it when I don't currently have one myself, but it could still be informative. So I may as well do that at some point in the future. But yeah, Lena and Yokai, I don't have quite that connection with them, that kind of telepathic understanding, like I mentioned. So yeah, I wish they were. I wish they understood me better because they would get into a lot less mischief. No, Lena's really good. Yokai is too, but he's very mischievous. He's a rabbit. That's what they do. Okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, so ammonia jars are fantastic. You can use ammonia jars for reversing situations, pretty much any situation. You can use it for, they're great for like, I haven't used it for this, but I would imagine so, given the circumstances. If there is like a legal situation you need reversing, you can do it there. Actually, this was great. I was going to talk about this on my upcoming vlog. Excuse me. I had one viewer. I don't want to give out her personal details of her situation, but she was having issues with her boyfriend's ex. And she emailed me about it, and I helped her with the wording for her ammonia jar spell, which is a little bit different than a regular intention. So if you haven't already, definitely check out my ammonia jar video. It's very informative, in my opinion. At least it was intended to be. Her results were so fast. She emailed me back like, I think like 5 days later and was like, it worked. Thank you so much for your help. It took us a couple days of me getting, enough information about her situation to help her with the wording. But I told her, just phrase it like this. I think that's what's going to work for you. And it did. And it worked really well. And, the ex wasn't like cursed or anything like that. It just took that friction in their situation and removed it. So, yeah. Yes. I know this isn't witchcraft related, but I have to talk about rabbits for a second. Yes. I love Yokai so much, but he has utterly destroyed carpets. Not here. Not here. I have a completely different setup for him. He used to be free roam in my bedroom, and I just like set up a baby gate. And at my first apartment, this was when I first adopted him too, and I never had rabbits before, and I did the research, but nothing ever quite prepares you for how much destruction a little tiny mammal can do. I've lost so many phone charging cables. I had to get all the ones that are like wrapped in metal and stuff yeah, they're adorable and I love them and they have such great little personalities, but oh boy, bunny proofing is a thing, definitely. Okay, let's see here. What else do I have on I want to make sure to get I'm definitely want to get to questions in the chat if you guys have them, but I also want to make sure I get to all these ones that I got in advance because I know it's people that were like, please answer my question. I can't tune in at that time, but please answer. So I'm excited to get to everybody. So next question is, how long should someone wait before doing their first spell? Which is a really great question. My coffee is really drying out my mouth. So is all the talking. That'll do it too. So the time period for waiting, I know, especially in some Wiccan traditions, there is a year and a day. In my own experience, that's the only place I've really ever heard of a limitation. But if according to your tradition, you have a wait time that, you need to be studying witchcraft for this amount of time before you ever do your first spell, then hey, I respect that. Do you. However, in general, I always say begin practicing your basics. So working with energy, that would be centering and grounding. And whatever you do for working on your focus, obviously I am a huge supporter of meditation, just straight up meditation. It could be guided meditation, mindfulness practices, whatever you do to work on your focus, get a good foundation of that. And also, what was the third thing I was going to say? Visualization. Visualization is the other one, and that can also be done through guided meditation. That's a great way. Also just doing things like visualizing. Totally forgot what I was going to say again. A reading. That's what I was going to say. Just through reading, if you're picturing what the author is describing to you, if you're trying to smell if you're reading about a character who's by the ocean and you're trying to hear the sound of the waves and feel the sand, the way it shifts underfoot, and you're trying to also imagine the smell of the salt water in the air while you're picturing it all, feeling, the cool breeze and like bundling up in that, reading is a really good way to work on your visualization. So if you have those three things down, at least like you don't have to perfect them. You're never going to perfect them. These are things skills we continue to build on our whole lives, is visualization, focus / meditation, and energy work. So if you at least have the foundations of those down, you've been kind of practicing them, get the spell work right away. In my opinion, witchcraft is, yes, there's a lot of research, there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of video watching and podcast listening to do to keep learning, but the learning part of it is a lifelong journey. You will always be doing that. And it's sort of a learning on the job type of deal with witchcraft. You learn through experience, especially with your own craft. I talk about this all the time. what works for one witch may not work for another. There's always varying results for everyone in every aspect of it. And you need to really figure out what works for you, what your style is. That's why we have so many, there's so many different types of witches: kitchen witchery, green witches, uh, elemental witches, hedge witches, because everybody has different things that are more successful to them for them. And also, like, some people just don't like cooking. They may like the idea of being a kitchen witch, but they just don't like cooking. And that's fine. So it needs to also both work for you, but also appeal to you. So it's really through practice that you start to learn those things. I do a little bit of crystal work, but for the most part, I've found that crystals are not a huge part of my craft, just because I don't find them to be super impactful for me. That's just a personal thing. But I learned that through experimentation. So get practicing right away with doing actual spells. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. It can be super simple. And again, I always tell you guys, keep a magic journal. I designed one myself to sell on Amazon for you guys. Even if it's just a spiral bound notebook, start writing everything down, keeping track of it, keeping track of your results and what you do. It's a very important part of your journey. And you're not gonna, don't meddle in anything dangerous early on, and you're gonna be fine. I wouldn't say like try to, summon, look into Aleister Crowley's work and look into summoning demons. Don't make that the first thing you do. Be careful with spirits and fae and things like that early on until you learn more. But for the most part, you're not going to accidentally destroy the world or curse your whole family line or kill somebody. Don't be afraid of witchcraft. I think that's the biggest thing, is fear holds a lot of us back early in, and we think, I don't know enough yet. I don't know enough yet. I need to know more before I do this because I could accidentally do something bad. Most likely, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. So I do encourage right away. Yeah. I was going to say one more thing on that, but oh, thank you. Sorry. Like, you recognize my painting in the background. My all-time favorite book. Oh, that's a really good question. Witchcraft book or like regular book? I can answer both of those. Ooh, I'm like the worst person to ask, like, what's your favorite anything? Because I'm like, well, hold up, here's my top 10. But no, I will try to whittle this down. Fiction book or like regular book in general that's not witchcraft related. Any book. Okay, that I don't know if that makes it easier or more difficult, because that gives me more options. Um, okay, let me give you a fiction and a nonfiction, and this is off the top of my head. I'll probably get off the stream later and then be like, oh no, I should have said this. But anyway, I'm over here stressing over a simple question. I love It by Stephen King. That book is so fantastic. I love that book. I was just like so wrapped up in it. Read it. I encourage everybody to read it. It's so good. Especially because it came out early into Stephen King's career. So a lot of the things that you read in it kind of seem like tropes now. You have to keep in mind that was like the first place that book was like the first time that trope was used. It was where it was invented. So it's a trope now, but at the time it was completely original. It's just such a good book. There's one scene at the end that's a little, like, if you read it or have at least heard of this scene, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a little uncomfortable to read, and in my opinion was completely unnecessary, but it's otherwise a fantastic book. And I'll also name a nonfiction, which is The Indifferent Stars Above, which is about, it mainly focuses on the whole Donner Party, but it does talk about the struggles of a lot of pioneers at the time who were traveling, manifest destiny on all that. And it's just such a good book. It was one of the most engaging history books I've ever read. The author of it, whose name I can't think of right now, he just has such a great storytelling style that even though it's history, it just really wraps you in. So Those are two of my favorite books. It's a really long answer for such a simple question. I'm a rambler, which is why my videos have so much editing. I write scripts for all of my videos, but I still end up having to edit down like so much because I'll be on track with the script, but then I'll think of like, oh, I should add this in. I'm a rambler. Okay, one of my other preset questions was, what is the purpose of a broom in witchcraft? So a broom, also known as a besom, is typically used as for ceremonial work. Generally, it's used for two types of ceremonial work, although some people use it for various other things, just depending on their own practice. But the main thing is for energetic cleansing. You can use it to cleanse your altar, cleanse your sacred space. You can even use it technically in your whole house. But it's used to energetically, like you physically use the besom and sweep out negative energy and just cleanse the area. And then the other ceremonial use of it is for casting a circle. I know some people who do like to use it, sweeping around the perimeter with it to create an energetic circle. Lots of people have different ways. Some people just visualize, some people, and this is for energetic circles, not physical ceremonial circles, but energetic circles. Some people visualize, some people use their hands to kind of, lay out it's around here. And some people will use a wand or an athame or a sword, but some witches use besoms for that. So that's another way to use it. Da-da. Okay, let's see here. You said you were hesitant about telling your family about your practice. How would you plan to tell them if you ever do? I love this question because it's very relevant right now. So not accidentally, I told my parents the other day, actually. I'm going to put this in my vlog for this month too, but I may as well share the story now. I had no plan in telling them, actually. Like, I figured eventually they're going to find out, but so this is what happened. I've been telling them about the channel. I'm very close to my parents, and I share with them what's going on in my life. And the channel is a big part of my life right now. And I'm hoping it will continue to be a big part of my future. And I'm hoping it will be a bigger part of my future as we go forward. But so I've been telling them about it, and I was excited, and I told them about the 1,000 subscriber milestone. And the whole time, they've never actually asked me what the YouTube channel is about. Part of it is because my parents are boomers, and they don't, not that all boomers are like this, but they're the stereotypical boomer where they're like, technology, like my dad just got an iPhone for the first time, and we've been teaching him to use it for like 2 weeks now, and he still doesn't have the hang of it. So they're kind of those stereotypical baby boomers who just aren't quite caught up with everything. And so they don't know like my dad, when I told him my boyfriend Mikey started live streaming, on Twitch doing video games, he was like, people will pay you to do that? And I was like, oh yeah. So they haven't actually, I've kind of left out the detail of what my YouTube channel is actually about. And And I think they just assumed it was fitness and health related. And I said, when I was talking about it, my dad did actually ask, he was like, well, wait, what is it? And I said, oh, it's educational. And Mikey started laughing next to me. And my dad was like, well, what does that mean? Is it like fitness? Is it health? Like, well, like I said, I figured that's what they had assumed it was. And so I finally just sucked it up and said, no, it's about paganism and witchcraft. And both my parents just kind of sat there for a second. And I said, like, yeah, I've been practicing for the past several years. And it's something that's important to me, but I keep relatively private in my personal life. And my dad just goes, and this was about the reaction I was expecting. He was like, "Oh, well, be careful. You can meet a lot of weirdos doing that." Which just goes to show how little my dad knows about it, which is fine. That's understandable. But I looked at him and I was like, "Well, Dad, you can run into weirdos on the internet doing anything." So, and he goes, "Well, yeah, that's true." And then he got up and left the room because he was kind of indifferent to the whole thing, and he's whatever about it. But my mom just kind of sat there, and this was who I was worried about discussing it with, because she was never a churchgoer, but she was a Christian. She raised my sister and I in a Christian household. Like I said, we never went to church, but she was the one who sort of put me off of witchcraft to begin with. She found a book on Wicca in my room when I was 12 or 13 that I had gone out and bought. And she told me that, all magic comes from the devil, even if you don't realize it. And she kind of pushed me to throw it away, which I did. And it scared me at the time. So I threw out the book. And I told her, I was like, I was a little worried to tell you about this because I remembered, and I recalled that incident to her. And she was like, I don't remember that. So this is where it went pleasantly, surprisingly well. She goes, I don't remember that. She goes, that's especially strange because I know that Wicca has more to do with just, the earth than anything else. So, and she was like, I'm really sorry. And I was like, taken aback because my mom's not, I mean, she apologizes, but it was very surprising to hear it coming so many, 20 years later, this apology for that incident. And I think it's because she realized that this is obviously something that's very important to me. And it's a big aspect of my life, both the channel and my spirituality. And she was like, I'm really sorry if I made you feel that way. And I was just like, I was like gobsmacked, I was very surprised. So they know now. Long story short, they are now aware of the situation. I have people kind of popping in and out, I see, probably because they're like, she's talking about her personal life. I'm gonna get out of here. That's fine. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions, leave them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep going with the preset questions I got in advance. So why is your channel called Bewitching.Bemused? My channel is called Bewitching.Bemused because I love the word bewitching to encompass witchcraft. I just think it encompasses so much of it to begin with, but then it is also such a glamorous word for it. I don't know if that's because I grew up on, Nick at Night with the show Bewitched, but I just love that word. And then I also really love, alliteration. So I was like, I want to use bewitching. I need another word that starts with a B. Bemused was because the original intent with my channel was to target beginner witches, but also people who just are struggling to get through the massive, overwhelming amounts of information that are out there. Because I remember when I first began, I was very confused and to the point of being a little bit frustrated with how much information was out there and so there were so many things I just couldn't get a straight answer on. That's why I talk a lot about correspondences. I've done a few videos about correspondences, and I always, in my spell videos, talk about personalizing things, why you need to personalize things. And this was something, that was something I was so frustrated with because I was like, where is this information coming from? Why does this book say this, but this book says that? That website says that. Like, it was so confusing. And I was just thinking, like, I felt like I was missing out. Like there was some big secret that I was missing and I just couldn't find it. And I had to just keep reading and looking and looking and looking to find it. But it wasn't. Like at the end of the day, like it wasn't a secret. There's just a lot of information and you have to wade through it. It takes time. And so I wanted to have a place where I could tell people, like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to know everything right off the bat. I know it's confusing. I'm here for you, basically. Yes, exactly. Well, sorry, I'm responding to the yes, my parents, I'm very close with my parents. I love them. We do have a really great relationship. And so fortunately, I mean, I could have told them like I worship the devil, and they probably would have been like, well, you know, if that's what brings you peace. I don't worship the devil, obviously, but like I don't even technically believe in the Christian idea of the devil, but you know, a lot of people draw that conclusion when they hear paganism. Um, but no, my parents have always been very, very supportive. I mean, I wanted to pursue acting when I was younger. I still pursue acting to some degree. You have to have incredibly supportive parents to get through that. If you want to push forward with that. So I love my parents. They're the best. I really love them. They're not perfect, you know, they have their flaws, but for the most part, my parents are wonderful people, and they've always treated my sister and I so well. And just taught us a lot. I owe so much to my parents. So yeah, I'm not surprised they were like, cool, whatever. But it's still nerve-wracking. It's still very nerve-wracking coming out of the broom closet. So, you know. Okay. Hey, Amanda. I am having a good morning. How is your morning going? Or is it morning for you? I don't know what time zones everybody's in. So, whatever time of day it is, I hope you're having a good Sunday. Da, 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 da. Let me do the next question. What is something witchcraft related that you aren't very good at? LOL. Sorry if that's a sassy question. So that was one of the questions I got in advance, and I had to include that ending because it made me laugh. I love it. That's totally fine. Because we all have things that we're not that great at. So one of the things that I'm not great at that I wish I was, and I just need to practice more, I need to study it more, is astral projection. My experience with astral projection has been, it's been like, you know, when you need to sneeze and you're like, and then it just disappears on you. And it's like, oh, so close to getting that sneeze out. That's been my experience with astral projection. Like, it's just like right on the cusp. Like I've been so close, and I've had moments of, oh my god, it's happening, and then done. It's closed out. You know, I think it's because I'm anticipating it so much, and I want it so bad, and I'm so excited that my focus is I get a little like manic when it starts to happen. So that's something I'm not very good at. 11:46. Okay, so you are 3 hours ahead of me. It is 8:48 a.m. here. We got 6 people in. Hey everybody. Like I've been saying, I'm just answering some questions that I got in advance through like the poll or on Instagram or Facebook. So if you have any questions or you just want to chat with one another in the chat over here, feel free to. At the rate we're going, I'm probably just going to hang out until about 9. I mean, if we just get a random uptick and a ton of people join in, I might stick around. But because this is the first live stream, I don't want to. Not that I don't want to like overdo it, but I just don't want to overwhelm myself with this. I'm still getting used to this, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking. And I have to pee soon. Not gonna lie about that. That coffee, it hit me. Yeah, I still feel, even though I've been going for like over 40 minutes now, I'm like, I'm still like a little manic, a little anxious. It's fine. Okay, so the last question that I got in advance was, you've said you can do whatever you want in order to charge a sigil. Can you elaborate on that? How is it we can just do whatever we want? Aren't there rules? Which is a great question, especially because I still get a lot of, sorry, I'm trying to close out this doc. Okay. I still get a lot of questions about, can I do this to charge a sigil? Can I do that to charge a sigil? And usually my answer is yes. Yes, you can. So the thing with that, so as we all know, one of the most important foundational aspects of witchcraft is that your belief is so strong. Your belief is like 80 to 90% of your power. If you don't believe in magic, if you don't believe that your spell is going to work, then yeah, it's not going to work. So much of your power is drawn from your belief in it, in not only in magic in general, but also in your belief in yourself. So building upon that, when you do anything or use anything, any ingredients, if you assign it purpose, if you assign it meaning, boom, there it is. So to elaborate on that, it's cold in here. My little granny sweater. I love it. Some people use gnosis through meditation for sigils. That's one of the most popular ones, forms for it. If you're practicing sigils as in like straight chaos magic. But if you're just doing sigils either as chaos magic or just in general, if you don't do any other types of chaos magic, if you say, when I dance and I'm holding this piece of paper with a sigil on it, if you just decide that energy you're building up in your body through that dance is the energy that's going into the sigil in order to charge it, that's what it does. It's just, Alan Chapman discusses this really well in his book, Advanced Magic for Beginners, which is a book I did do a review video on, and I highly recommend it. That is one of my favorite books on magic. It is an introductory book on chaos magic. But even if you have no interest in chaos magic, I always recommend it to people. It's just a really good book. It's a quick read. It's free. There's a free PDF online you can find. I read it on my phone for the first time in like 4 hours. And it's also really funny. But he's just really straightforward to the point. There's other chaos magic books, but sometimes it's like you got to stop and be like, wait, what does this word mean? And look things up, or they're introductory, but they're still a little heavy and complex. This one's super simple. I always highly recommend this book. But anytime, if you want to, you just assign something power, and it has power. And I do urge you to pick something that is meaningful and representative, like symbolic for you, whether that's symbolic of building up energy or symbolic of whatever you are trying to manifest with your sigil. Link those two together. It will make it stronger. Sure, it would be simple to be like, okay, I snap my fingers and my sigil is charged. If it works, great. In my opinion, doing things like that is sort of the easy way out. It's, I don't want to call it lazy, because yeah, it works for some people. And hey, if it works, then like do it. But I know for me, it just is more successful if it has a little bit more involvement, a little bit more energy being raised. Yeah, I think that answers that question. Okay. I know there's stuff going on in the chat, so let me look. Yes, Amanda, I feel that. I really feel that we've been in retrograde. So that's definitely been a thing. I think I've had a few people that I have one YouTuber who I'm hoping to interview. We're trying to set up an interview soon, and we've been both emailing back and forth, but we've both been really slow on our emails because we've just been like, retrograde is hitting me really hard. So yeah, when it's been coming to my craft lately, I don't know if it's retrograde. I don't know if it's just quarantine and life right now. I don't know if it's the fact that my allergies have been acting up. It's been I just feel sluggish. I just feel a bit sluggish with my craft anyway. And I'm also just really behind on emails for the channel in general and comments. I need to get to all of that today or tomorrow, but life has just been a bit busy. But yeah, I know you didn't ask this, but never feel bad if you feel like just really unfocused with your craft at any given time, because that's just life. Do whatever you got to do to stay connected, even if it's just, I go for nature walks and meditate. That's all I'm doing in this time period until I start feeling a little better, or, whatever it is for you in your personal craft. I know that's what I do anyway. So that's my advice that you didn't ask for, but I'm giving it to you anyway. Okay, let me look at the chat real fast. You're welcome. Yes. I think some of my stuff is a little bit, because I'm eclectic. I do run into a little bit of Wiccan traditions and stuff, but I always try to point out where that is. Like the Live of the Year video where I go over every Sabbath, like I do include, information on like the Wiccan beliefs of it. In regards to like the god and the goddess and what their activity is and state is on a certain Sabbath. So that's just an example. But yeah, that was also part of the reason I started this channel to begin with. I found it was very hard to find YouTube channels or podcasts or blogs that weren't mostly Wicca at the very least. And as somebody who's not Wiccan myself, I thought, it's fine. It's still useful information, but I just wasn't always connecting with it. So yeah, you're welcome. I'm taking a look at the chat. I've been I can hear my boyfriend's alarm going off, and I think I don't know if he's stalling for me to be done. Probably not. I think he's just sleeping in. I love that. Kara, I think it's Kara or Kara. I think it's Kara. So please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm so sorry. But you just said that since in bulk, you've been trying to do more things that welcome and inspire the springtime, like burning floral scented candles and taking care of my plants. Kara, it's Kara. Okay. I always feel so bad when I mispronounce the names. I think it's because I don't know why I feel bad about that. Because like my last name is, nobody ever pronounces it right upon reading it. It's Norwegian, and people have a lot of trouble pronouncing it, which is fine. It never bothers me, but for whatever, I've never been annoyed by it or be like, why can't people pronounce my last name? But I still just like feel bad. I don't know why. Especially with first names. Oh, I'm so sorry. But no, I love that. Yeah, I've been that's one thing that's been really kind of keeping me afloat with my energy lately, is taking care of my plants, because I'm so excited that I can actually grow them in my new apartment. Like they're getting enough sunlight, they're getting enough fresh air. I have one succulent in particular that has, I don't know what it's called. I always forget what it's called, but it's got like kind of reddish, like dark red, almost black leaves. And like they were just like slumped, slumped down at my old. I got it when I first got it. It was so gorgeous and it was all lively. And then I put it on my balcony in my last apartment, and it just like it stayed alive, but it was not happy. And it made me so sad. It made me so sad. And then just in the 2 months I've been at my new apartment, it is like fluffing up. It is coming to life, as being rejuvenated here. I honestly think my plants were like suffering in the energy of my last place. And I look at my plants and I think, and all of the plants that died in my old apartment, and I've changed nothing about the way that I've taken care of them. So I know it wasn't me. It was the location. But I think the apartment was just a energy drain. I don't know, because I look at those plants and all the ones that died, and I'm just like, if that's what this place is doing to my plants, what is it doing to me? So, yeah, anyway. Let's see. Raven plant. It might have been. I gotta look it up. I always forget. I like that name for it either way, a raven plant. Retrograde. Yeah. I'm trying to like read as quickly as possible, but also I can't read and talk at the same time. I don't know why I'm putting all this unnecessary pressure on myself that I understand that you guys are not asking from me. It's just me stressing myself out. I'll get used to this, don't worry. I am a houseplant enthusiast. I love it. Actually, let me Google this really fast. I'm gonna look. We're gonna find out. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. No, I'm just kidding. I'm still here. Let's see. Black leaves succulent. No. Of course, I'm just finding articles about like, why are the leaves turning black? And I'm like, no, mine are supposed to be black. Oh, here we go. Varieties. Okay. Give you a topic. Oh, a topic of discussion. I'm drawing a blank now. I'm the best live streamer ever. No, I'm having a lot of fun. And you guys are, I'm having a lot of fun with you guys and also just doing this in general. I've been so excited to do the live stream since day one. I think that excitement is just like making me crazy. It's all in my own head though. I'm fine. Oh, see, now I found an article with a list of different types of black succulents with no pictures of them next to the names. So I'll get back to you on that one. I'll put it in my vlog. I'll have to look that up. Some say your plants start wilting when they're protecting you from bad energy. Yes, that's exactly what I feel like was happening. Because that place was such, man, I complained in my vlogs about the maintenance issues or lack of maintenance, the issues I had with lack of maintenance there. We had pest infestations that they refused to do anything about. Those were big things. I had lack of sunlight, lack of good quality airflow through there. Those were all things that we didn't like. But we also had neighbors that we had issues with. Well, I'll just straight up say it. The neighbor that lived below us was a straight up alcoholic. We had lots of issues with her. She was very, I don't know if I want to put all of her, obviously I'm not going to name her, but like, I don't know if I want to put all of her whole stories on blast, but just, she was a very aggressive alcoholic, and she would sometimes stand in her backyard and scream our names. And we butted heads with her. We did what we could to be civil and keep our distance. And we tried to work things out with her. We tried to work things out with her husband. And it was just this like never ending tension. But even before they moved in, luckily we did have one absolutely lovely neighbor who lived next door to us, and I'm still in contact with her, and I miss her so much. She was a great neighbor. But so part of it is like the people you're surrounded by, but also it's just the place in general. I talked about in some of my vlogs, I think I talked about this, how I would park my car out on the street, and this was with my old car. It got broken into 5 times. And I think because it was a 2009, it was probably like easy to like jimmy open. And I never kept valuables in there, luckily. But they did steal a binder that had like 5 years worth of Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Like character worksheets and campaign notes. I was so pissed about that. But no, it was always stressful, right? Like, even if you don't keep valuables in your car, it's just stressful. Like, what if the next time the car is just gone? And it was, having to listen to things like the kitchen faucet always running and the toilet always running. It's driving up your energy bill. And it's like, it's these little noises that are going on in the background that are, you get used to them. So you tune them out, but it's still there in the back of your mind somewhere. And it's just not healthy. It's stressful. It's not healthy for you. And that whole place, man, I remember being excited to move there because I was excited to move in with Mikey for the first time and start that part of that journey of our relationship. But I remember first walking into that place, and he had only lived there for about a month at the time before I moved in. And it just immediately was like, like, yeah, there was just something off with that place. And I think it was a combination of many, many things. And I'm just so thankful to be out. Um, yeah, you know what I'll do? I'll post a picture of it in my next vlog, which should be coming out in a couple weeks. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to me rant about my crappy old apartment. Yes, I was a dungeon mistress. I love that because I used to still use the term dungeon master. But yeah, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 13 years, some of it kind of on and off. Unfortunately, the pandemic slowed a lot of things down. And I no longer have a campaign to DM because we moved, and I don't know if I want to shift it to Zoom calls, and we'll see. But I do really want to put a new group together. I've actually had a few friends up here that are like, "Hey, I really want to get into D&D. Can you teach me?" And I'm like, yes. So I'm excited for that. My car recently got broken and vandalized. Oh my God. Well, yeah, thankfully it didn't work, but yeah, see, these things just, it's so stressful. And that was why I was like, I got a new car. I am making this car charm bag. So far, so good. I've had no issues. I think it's a mix of both it being a newer car. It's a 2017. So it's more like the alarm system and everything like that is more intimidating, but also, um, you know, magic, magic protection. Oh man. Because it was never once touched, because there were other cars on that street that got vandalized without being actually like broken into or windows smashed and broken into or whatever. And I luckily never had issues with the new car. Do, 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 do. You guys have been so great. If anybody has any last minute questions, type them in the chat now. I'm more than happy to hang out a little longer and answer them. Otherwise, I'll probably wrap it up for today. Oh, so if you guys are typing questions, I'll give you a minute to do that. And I'll just let you know my intention right now. I plan to do a live stream once a month to start. We'll see how things progress. And then, later on down the line, I may put together a Patreon, and subscribers can get an extra live stream every month. So it's a little more smaller. I'm debating with that though, only because I don't want to have people like pay a subscription fee just to find out that the extra live stream happens at a time that doesn't work for them. So I'm toying with that, but that's a ways out into the future anyway. So for now, I want to do one live stream a month, and I'm thinking the third Sunday of every month at 8 a.m. California time. I do intend for it to replace that Sunday morning video. It will, of course, get published after the fact. So even if you miss the actual live stream, it still will be here. Everybody can tune in. And yeah, I think that's everything. So third Sunday of every month, I'm going to add that to my banner, and then hopefully I'll be able to make community announcements, and I'm going to post that schedule on the Facebook page and on Instagram and give everybody a heads up in advance. And while they may remain, we didn't have like a huge amount of people in here asking a bunch of different questions. So for now, while it kind of stays, we've got a smaller group tuning in, which is fine, totally fine. while we've got a smaller group tuning in, I can take questions in advance. So if you are watching this after the fact and if you have a question you want me to answer during a live stream, but you know you're not going to be able to tune in for it, feel free to send it to me anyway. Instagram, Facebook. I haven't been great with the Instagram messaging. I'm not gonna lie. Partly because I don't always get notifications from Instagram for messages, but just be aware. And you can comment it on my announcements, posts on Facebook or whatever. And then ask me in advance and I'll answer it during the video. Once we eventually have 1 million subscribers, I don't know if I'll ever have 1 million subscribers. Once we have a lot more subscribers and I've got like more people tuning in, I might be just too busy with the live chat to be able to answer questions that I got in advance. But you know, we all do what we can. I think that's it. I just rambled on about that fact. I don't know why. But okay, everybody, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm so happy. I'm still like, I'll probably be like trembling for like 20 minutes after I'm done with this. I used to love doing live theater and live improv shows and stuff, but live on camera for whatever reason just makes me a whole different type of nervous. I don't know why. So thank you for being so supportive in the chat and like oh, here we go. Oh, I'll answer that question in a second. But yes, thank you also for being super supportive in the chat while I'm just like like a stumbling, like manic mess. It's fine. It's fine. It's going well. Thank you so much, Kara. I got that right. Okay, Boo has a question. Wand, athame, or both? What do you prefer? So I have both, but I don't really use either one. I will occasionally if the mood strikes me, but I actually owned both of them before I ever got into witchcraft. One of them, the athame was for my Renaissance fair costume. And then the wand was actually a gift that somebody had gotten for me from Renaissance fair. So I incorporated, they're both Renaissance fair costume pieces. But they're both nice. Like the wand is actually like hand carved wood. The athame is really nice. And so I thought, oh my gosh, these are perfect. So I sort of cleansed them, charged them, and repurposed them for the sake of witchcraft when I first began. And I used them here and there. But for me, I just found I felt a lot more connected with directing energy and stuff when just using my hands. That's my personal approach. I know some people feel like, and I might feel differently if I had a different type of wand or a different type of athame. Like my wand is just wood. I know a lot of people use ones with like crystal tips, and I might feel like, ooh, if I had one of those, I might be like, that's just supercharged it. So I would like to experiment a bit more with those. But for now, I feel like my hands do most of the job. Even for like, if I do cast a circle, I'm not a person who always opens and closes a circle. For various reasons, but sometimes I'll just admit, sometimes I'm just too lazy. Like, I'm just like, I just want to do this spell really fast. It's a quick spell. I don't want to do the whole circle deal. So for using it for that purpose, even then, a lot of times I use my hands. Sometimes I just use like an index finger to point where my border is. But when it comes to like charging items, I mostly just work with my hands. I feel the most connected when I do it that way. My practice is always changing though, so it might change at some point in the future. But for now, that's kind of just what works best for me. But that was a good question. I like that. Thanks for doing a live stream. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you guys so much. You guys are so great. I'm really excited to be here and finally be doing a live stream. So hopefully next time there will not be technical difficulties and I can actually do it on my phone. So my camera will be a little less poopy. This wasn't terrible, but I can do a lot more troubleshooting with audio and things like that if I'm using my phone versus my laptop. So we'll see how it is next time. All right. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Yeah, we're, oh my goodness, what are we doing? Everything's fallen out of my brain. I should have written down what I was going to close with. But yeah, we'll have the next video up on Wednesday as usual, and another one on Sunday. We've got excited things coming because the channel is just growing and growing, and I don't see an end in sight, and I love it. Thank you all so much. I love you guys. I will talk to you all soon. Make sure to join us on Facebook. Again, I'm really trying to push that Facebook page and get people on there. It's small right now, and I want it to grow and flourish. All right, y'all. I will see you on Wednesday. This has been so much fun. Thank you. Bye.